Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Drumming with Doug. Just playing some Street Fighter 4 here with my roommate Aaron Dyer, former bass drummer extraordinaire. And today I'd like to talk with you about phrasing in 5. Now what I mean by that is let's take 5 equally spaced notes. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's use accents and taps to create different phrases with them. Now what I mean by accents are notes that you play loudly or with emphasis. And what I mean by taps are notes that you play very softly. So, I don't want to get into a big technique discussion here, but I will say this. I know a lot of players that when they go to play accents, sometimes they squeeze the stick and they use a lot of unnecessary tension and really kind of knead it out, beat the crud out of the drum with it. And honestly, man, you can get as loud, if not a louder sound by just staying relaxed and breathing and letting your hand just be kind of open. There's no need for any kind of tension or squeezing. I would just relax and use the weight of your arm to help get that sound if you really need a volume that loud. And that applies to the taps too. There's other players I see that really tense up when they play on the low end and are trying to squeeze and control everything through tension, as opposed to just letting the stick rebound kind of naturally. So that's all I'm going to say on that subject. You know, check with your private lesson instructors or your band directors on working the techniques a little further. But if we're looking at 5 notes and we're going to phrase it, I want to take a look at the 2 common Western subdivisions for 5, and that's 2-3, meaning 1-2, 1-2, 3, 1-2, 1-2, 3. And 3-2, meaning 1-2, 3, 1-2, 1-2, 3, 1-2. Obviously, there's several different ways that you could subdivide 5, but those are the 2 that I want us to start with. So we're going to play accents on all the ones. If I did that with the 2-3, it would sound like this. 1, 2, here I go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1. Go ahead and repeat it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, stop. Cool? So twice with the right hand, twice with the left hand. Let's try that together. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, stop. Now if we did the inverse of that, it would be the 3-2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So let's try that. Twice with the right hand, twice with the left hand, and then repeat. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, stop. Word. All right, good job. Let's take all that and put it together now. We'll do the 2-3. Twice to the right, twice to the left, repeat, and then immediately go into the 3-2. Now this is just to feel comfortable with phrasing in 5 or playing these groupings in 5. Something we should talk about with the accent and tap is that you should try to achieve only 2 different types of sounds: your accent sounds and your tap sounds, or your loud and your soft, regardless which hand is playing and regardless at what point in the 5 you're playing. Like all the accents should sound the same and all the taps should sound the same. To build that strong foundation, as you gain that control later, you can shift it and change it kind of how you want. But to achieve this, there's 2 methods I'd really recommend. One is playing or practicing in front of a mirror so that you can really see the height of all those accents and double check that you're at the same height. If one sticks higher than the other, more than likely that higher one's going to be louder, right? Double check that all the taps are at the same height. And then 2, to record yourself. So you can go back and listen and really listen closely and see if all those taps sound exactly the same and if all those accents sound exactly the same. Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and try to put this whole exercise together now. Phrasing in 5 with the 2-3 and then the 3-2. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now at the 3-2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, stop. Awesome. So if you feel pretty comfortable with that, we need to make sure that we start to tap our foot to that, or maybe put quarter notes on the rim against it. There's a couple different ways you can approach this. I said that we're phrasing in 5. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're playing 5 lids, which would be 5 notes spaced evenly per beat. You could go 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3, no problem. But to work on the independence aspect of it a little more, let's imagine that we're in 4/4 and that these are 8th notes. If that's the case, it's going to kind of shift on and off the beat. Check this out. If this is a quarter note, 2 3 4 1 2 and 3 and 4 and 4 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3, so on and so forth. So a really good exercise to work with this is do exactly what we were just doing, but with the opposite hand, the hand that's not playing, add quarter notes. You can put it on the rim, you can put it on a cymbal. If you were behind a keyboard instrument, you can put it on a different note, whatever you wanted to do. But that would sound kind of like this. 1 2 ready, go. 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 stop, so on and so forth. So that's just something to kind of mess with and experiment with. As you feel more and more comfortable with the exercise, I suggest substituting things in those groupings of 2 and 3. I really like, for example, putting flam taps in the groupings of 2, 1 2, and then playing Swiss Army triplets in the groupings of 3, 1 2 3. So you get kind of like a 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2. So on and so forth. If you're working on your molar technique, you could put it all on one hand. 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. And of course, that always sounds good when you fill it in. It's always a good time. I also really like substituting paradiddles for the groupings of 2, 1 2, or paradiddle, and then paradiddle diddles for the groupings of 3, 1 2 3, paradiddle diddle. So that'd be like 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 2 1 2 3 1 2 stop. So on and so forth. You get the idea, right? Cool. So mess with that a little bit, experiment with that a little bit, put it on different instruments, and see what you can come up with. Again, if you have any questions or answers, feel free to contact me at drummingwithdoug@gmail.com. Until then, looks like I got some anti-acma to work up here. See you next time.